was involved from the very beginning, and this is like, and I mean, I enjoyed it because it's like making a movie in Europe where the director starts working with the cameraman, you know, way before the shooting starts. And I remember going into Thailand to check the locations out, which where we actually shot the Vietnam sequences. We also went to Pittsburgh and we checked out the locations, and we made some preparations, you know. We had a lot of problem with the weather situation because we had to shoot this movie like it starts in October or September, the hunting season. And of course, you know, like in Hollywood always, you shoot a winter movie, you start in the summer. Or you shoot a summer movie, you have to shoot it in the winter. So whenever the money is ready to do a movie, that's when we start making a movie. So we started Deer Hunter, actually, if I remember correctly, it was April or May. The leaves just were coming out on the trees, and everything was green and gorgeous and beautiful. And for the movie, we didn't want that kind of a look. We wanted to have the fall look. We have wanted the desaturated look. We wanted to make it look like we are in a smoky steel mill town, you know, where there's not much color in there, you know. Everything is work, and then we see them, you know, how they entertain themselves, and we get into a wedding and so on. So for the color scheme, you know, we wanted desaturated, dark colors. So what we are going to do with those trees? So we have to take the leaves off of the trees, you know. That's not an easy job, you know. Just think about some horrendous big trees, and people had to take the leaves down one by one. The wedding scene was quite interesting. I mean, in the script, it didn't really look much actually, because the whole sequence maybe was like, I would say 4 or 6 pages. It's not much dialogue there, if you recall. It's a lot of action, dancing, and happening, and falling on the ground. And nobody ever thought that sequence is going to end up as a 40-minute sequence in a movie. You know, 40 minutes is almost like a whole movie, and this is just part of a movie which it doesn't really even belong into the real story what's happening in a movie. But I think Michael thought that this was the most important part of the movie to establish the characters. The studio certainly hated it. So they were trying to cut that down, and the editor was sort of behind the scenes actually cutting his own version of this movie, a short version, which at the wedding maybe was 10 minutes or something like that. And Michael Cimino didn't know about that. And at the time when we found out, actually, he immediately fired the editor, and ironically, the editor got the Academy Award for Best Editing. So that shows, you know, what he thought that was going to be the best side. So
we're going airborne, sir.
I hope they send us where the bullets are flying.
That's right.
Fighting's the worst, huh?
That's right.
Bucket.
Michael Cimino was a difficult person. A lot of people could not work with him, you know, but I found him very, very talented, and I always like to work with talented people, and if they have any personality problems, I can get over those so easy, because I always look at the man as an artist and what he can do on the screen, you know, and he certainly could put images up on the screen, you know.
They changed it. Somehow they changed it.
You couldn't find your own ass with 2 hands.
Fucking A.
I love improvisation in movies. I mean, even then, you know, today is almost like passé, you know, that you are thinking about handheld cameras and just you catch, you know, what's happening on the screen and all that. But in those days, actually, it was interesting to see a director who encouraged the actors to not follow the lines sometimes, and not follow the script, you know, and just try to do something better if you can. And certainly Robert De Niro was an actor who always experiments in movies, and he loves to work that way, and all the ensemble there.
Oh, you got! Oh, you're gonna die, you motherfucker!
You the color scheme during the war scenes and in the Vietnam scenes actually stayed pretty much in the desaturated column. We did mostly with selecting the wardrobe of the people, because the terrain was really didn't matter too much because it was pretty neutral. And but what we actually did was to desaturate the colors and make it more like it's a newsreel photography, was that we pushed the film to the limit. I remember pushing the film 2 stops and overdeveloping it what it's been. When you're pushing a film, that means that you are underexposing it, and you have to develop it longer in the chemicals in order to get the exposure on the negative. But that also creates grain in the film and desaturation, so the colors actually will be muted, and it will be sort of looking more like a black and white image with some color. And it worked pretty good also because we had some newsreel footage what we had to use, because we could not recreate the Vietnam War. This was not a big budget movie, so to speak, like when you have hundreds of millions of dollars to really build cities and war scenes and all that. So we could not do that. But we had to use some of this 60 millimeter footage what the newsreel cameraman did in Vietnam. And when that's blown up to 35 and anamorphic, you can imagine that how grainy that is. And in order to match that little, but we had to really destroy our pure, beautiful Eastman color negative, to the point where it will look like it's a blow-up. There was another big scene, actually, which we shot at night. It's the refugees leaving the city in Vietnam. And we had to shoot it at night because I think the location, what we were using in Bangkok, it didn't really look too much like Vietnam. I think at night it was, much better, resembling more Saigon than during the day. And we didn't have enough power actually to light up a huge area. We were seeing actually a river, a bridge, and miles away you see houses. We wanted to light up windows. We had explosions in the background. Remember now, those days we didn't have any digital effects. We could not just put in later on, explosions. We could have probably, but we decided that we have to do it ourselves. So we had our own special effects men actually during the shot doing explosions like miles away, and see the flames going up and the smoke and all that. And but we could not really light up the whole river area, and then we were struggling for light. The generators went on. We used local generators, and some of them went on, and they didn't work. So we had to open up the lenses as far as we could, shoot wide open, and pray that something is going to be on the negative. And that's why, when you look at that sequence, it looks real, because I think in a war they would not be able to use actually lights. They would have to just shoot whatever is there, and I think it looks real because of the darkness, because you don't see really everything clearly, but you have a good feeling about what's happening.
People inside doing it for money?
Sometimes a great deal of money.
In the big hallway, with the archway, the one single light bulb in the middle of the room. It was very exciting, actually, because that looked like a painting, We had to add some light, That's the magic, of movies, that you can cheat, You can make it look like it's coming from one light bulb, it's coming from several other lights, And quite often we would try to do the one light thing, one light bulb thing. And I did that in the scene when going up to the prostitute's room who has a baby. There's a little fight going on between them, and the light suddenly starts swinging around in the room. And we really shot that with that one light bulb, because it would have been very, very difficult to recreate that with regular light, added lights, because there would be shadows from the swinging lights. So it was quite interesting that how scary that was actually for me, because it was really, the exposure was really on the bottom edge of that negative, you know, it was just like, you know, and the film always had to travel from Thailand to Hollywood, you know, to the laboratory, and you know, usually exposure can go away, you know, in a couple of days of traveling time. That little exposure might disappear from the film. It happens quite often. And I remember that the lab was not really happy with that negative, and they said it's really, we think it's unusable. You should really try to reshoot it. And of course, we didn't have a chance to reshoot it. And you know, Michael said, "Well, if it's not good, it's not going to be in the movie." And that's it, you know. And then when we saw it, it was just perfect again, because it's really, it's like reality, like it was, it's just like not a movie, like you are really capturing the real thing.
Don't do it.
And certainly the scene stands out for me when Christopher Walken dies in Robert De Niro's arms, you know, when he shoots himself, you know, in the roulette. And you know, that scene was never really rehearsed at all. It was, you know, we just set up two cameras and in two handheld cameras, and Michael just told us, you know, that's what happens, you know, that exactly, you know, he kills himself, you know, and then falls off, and De Niro jumps over there and we'll hold him up. That's it. And then we had to find our position, you know, when that happened. And we also were told that we might not have a take two. And that's exactly what happened, you know, that the whole acting was so intense, so incredible. And we captured it, you know, with two cameras. And it was no reason to repeat it. And I don't think that they could have repeated, really.
Ricky! Ricky! No! Rick! No! 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 Ricky! Get
And I had my doubts many times when I read the script that how can this be done, that the people are going to accept that, you know, like the ending of the movie, when our actors, you know, our characters are around the table after the funeral, and they are actually singing God Bless America. You know, I thought, you know, when I read the script, this is going to be so corny, you know, it's going to be like, God, this patriotic bullshit, you know, and all that. And I said, Michael, how can you get away with it? I mean, you sure that you want to do that? And, you know, he just said, he was laughing. He said, you know what, why don't you wait until the actors are going to do this scene and then tell me, I mean, your criticism is really corny or not, you know. And then he was damn right, you know, because when they did that scene, you know, it was just like everybody was crying, you know, on the set. It's like in a movie theater when the people are coming out of the theater there, you see them, you know, very touched, you know. It's a beautiful scene.
It's the Nick.
It was definitely the most challenging film in my life, and it was the most complicated in a way also, because it was playing in Pennsylvania. We went up to the state of Washington to the mountain scenes, and then we had to go to Thailand for the Vietnam scenes. I mean, every day we had some interesting sequence which didn't really look like the sequence before what we shot. So film is like a big mosaic, you know, that it has so much color in it and so much happening in it, and so many faces, so many great actors, you know, we had in the movie. So it was very challenging just to think about that to tell the story in a way, you know, that people will feel that they are there. And it was an honest picture. I think that's how I can say that. It's when you see that movie, it's really how I think movies should be made.